So in this video, I will be showing you guys how I do my large knotless. So right now I'm just parting off this section for my large knotless. And as you see, I normally do a part coming from ear to ear, enough to make 2 rows in the back. So right now I'm doing enough to make 2 rows in the back from ear to ear on down. I'm parting straight across, and I'm going to be using the tip of my comb. You know, the tip of my comb is very pointy. So right now I'm just using the tip of my comb. Right now I'm getting ready to work on my first braid, and as you see, I am taking that edge wax and I'm combing it through my first section that I'm going to be starting. So I just want to make sure that edge wax is combed all the way through before I start my braid. So that's what I'm doing right now, just making sure that edge wax is just combed all the way through. Now as you see, I try to part in like a triangle so that when I get ready to grip, my hair will lay over my braid neatly, just the way it needs to lay. So you want your hair to pretty much lay over your braid so that you won't see the extensions when you're getting ready to grip. You won't see the braiding hair. So I kind of part in a little triangle. I part out a triangle before I start my braid. So I now have my 3 pieces that I'm going to start with, and as you see, I position my fingers to get ready to start a braid, like I'm getting ready to plait her real hair. Now I would normally add a small piece right before I actually start to form my plait, and I would just normally add it up under the hair so that you can't see it, and then I will form my plait, and it still looks very natural. So you still get that natural effect of it, and it's not too much, it's still not bulky, it's not too full starting off, so it still give it a very natural look. So remember, just as if I was doing a stitch braids, I'm still going to go through with my comb with the shining gem, and I'm going to comb out any of her hair that have tangled, knotted up. And as you see, I'm twisting my hand to kind of hide her natural hair up under the braid, and that's the tucking method. I'm pretty much tucking the hair. So I'm going to place that hair in my hand, and I'm going to take my index finger, I'm going to push it up into that braid, and I'm just going to continue my braid. So this method that I'm using will be considered the overhand method, which I use to start off my knotless braids. Normally I use the overhand method to start my knotless off because I have easier access to the hair. It actually helps me grip better when I'm gripping the client's hair. Normally when I get to the top of the client's head, I normally switch my hand position to the underhand method, and I'm just going to continue to add hair in as I am braiding down. Also, the overhand method allows me to add hair in much easier as well. Normally when I'm braiding the other way, you guys going to see me switch my hand position soon, but when I switch the other way, it's harder for me to add hair in that way. I know how to, but it's just much more work. It's much easier for me to add the hair in this way. So you guys are going to see me switch my hand position a couple times throughout this one braid. I normally start off with overhand, then I switch into underhand, then I go back into overhand when I'm ending my braid. So you guys want to see me switch back and forth throughout this braid. So at this point, this is where you guys will see that I will switch my hand position into the underhand method so that I can just braid down a little bit. Once I get enough hair to where I'm comfortable enough to braid down, that's when I'll just reposition my hands and I'll braid down. So then you will see if I need more hair, I might stay in this position to add more hair. So I know how to add hair in this way as well. You can add hair either way. You can add hair in the underhand way or the overhand way. I don't know why I keep saying overhead. But yeah, you can add hair both ways. So you will see I'll go back and forth with adding hair, whatever I feel comfortable with at the time. So right now I'm still braiding underhand, and that's where I'm more comfortable at this point. So that's why I'm going to continue this braid down with the underhand method. So now that I'm ending my braid, I'm just going to take this braid all the way down, and she is going to get curls at the end. So I am not, if I was going to make them straight, I would braid as far as I can go. And normally, you guys, I don't tie a knot at the end of my braids when I have my braids straight. When I'm ending it, I dip my hand in a little edge wax, being that it's thick, a little pasty. So we're just going to be repeating the same steps in this braid as well. so that we can just be headed to the next row so that I can show you guys how to lay over, how to brick layer your knotless braids. So right now we're just repeating the same steps. We're just going to mold. Right now I'm just molding, and we're just going to go into braiding this knotless braid in and preparing to make it to the next row. So we have now made it to the second row in our back area, the back section. So in this area, you want to split this row up into three equal sections. So after you did your first row with 2 sections, you want to do your second row with 3 even sections, because you want your braids to lay over those parts. So that's how I kind of do mine in the brick layer. You want the next row, you want those braids to actually lay over. So as you can see, my middle braid is going to pretty much lay over my middle part, first row. So my middle braid on my second row is going to lay over my first row parting area. That middle part is going to fill in that actual gap that's right there, to fill it in, because knotless braids is already very natural looking. So as you can see, I'm going to split this up into 3, and if you notice, I'm getting ready to grip this in a totally different way than I grip my first 2 braids on the bottom row. So I'm going to grip this totally different. I'm going to grip this with the overhand method right now, because this is the way that I normally usually like to grip my braids. I thought I did it for you guys on the first row, but I did not. I thought I did, but I was just trying to show you guys the way that, you know, most people do it. This is the way that I normally do it. It's much more comfortable for me. And as you can see, I always keep a tight grip on the hair, because I always just want to make sure I have control of the hair of the braid, to make sure that braid stays consistent, tight, and make sure it is very straight, neat, and pretty. So I just always try to have control of the hair, and this is how I'm just more comfortable with adding my hair in. It's much more easier to add in with this way. So you guys, do you see what I mean when I say fill in those gaps? This is how it should look. This is how your knotless should look. So from there, you see what I have done to the top area. I did a part down the middle, and then from the middle on each side, I parted that down the side, straight down the middle, and made 4 equal parts. So that's how I do that for that section, and this is how I start to part off my next 3 rows for my large knotless. So I normally do 3 rows at the top, coming from the middle down to the from the middle to the ear. I normally do 3 rows, and that's how I count for my large. The same thing I did to that side, I am going to be doing to this side. I'm going to connect this row with the row to the right. So right now I'm doing the same thing that I did first, the row that we just finished. I'm just going to go in and part off my section that I'm going to be working on. So that's what I'm doing now, and I want you guys to follow along, do the same exact thing. And this is the finishing look for my large knotless.